Welcome back to The Mouse and Men, where we explore the grown-up side of Disney. Find us online at themouseandmen.com, where you can get a top 10 list of things for grown-ups to do at Walt Disney World. You can also find links to all of our social media, to YouTube, where we broadcast the podcast. And here we are back again. This is my co-caster, Chris. Chris, how you doing?
Man, I'm pumped. I'm pumped to talk about the perfect day at Hollywood Studios, man. How about you?
Okay, so let me just set the scene. I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do. Just totally forgetting about, there's Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land.
Yeah.
And a lot of other things that are really cool that I forget about. I was like, this is going to be hard to pick out enough things for a perfect day. Au contraire, it was really hard to narrow it down.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about Hollywood Studios today, where we're staying, what we're doing, of course, what we're eating.
Always what we're eating.
So, man, it's got me salivating, even though I just ate lunch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've come to the point where we'll get to all these as we move along here, but I've realized that I need to be very strategic, because when I'm sitting at home thinking about all the places that I want to eat, I can just go crazy imagining all of that. But when I add where I want to eat, plus all of the rides that spin me around and flip me upside down, I realize that I got to pace it out a little bit. So that was really hard for me to do, to see what's going to make it a perfect day, but not so perfect that then I go home a little nauseous.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, we don't want any twirling whirls here.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
So let's just jump straight into a perfect day at Hollywood Studios.
Let's do it.
Chris, where are we starting?
I think we need to start at the beginning of the day, which is, where are you going to wake up? So what is the most ideal resort for you to go to Hollywood Studios? And so it could be anywhere in the Walt Disney World resort area, but I think that getting a little closer to Hollywood Studios is a pretty prime position. So stay with the resort, try to be strategic about it. Where did you decide to spend the night at your perfect day at Hollywood Studios?
So I'm staying on Disney property at an early hotel, one of the first hotels there. But it's not actually owned and operated by Disney. I'm staying at the Swan, which is operated by Marriott. So I can get Marriott points, use points. It's great for that. Not that I've been traveling in the last year and a half, but for those who do travel a lot, it's a good way to, take a little chunk out of your Disney stay by using your Marriott points. But I'm staying there because I can use my Marriott points. I can get Marriott points, but also I don't have to wait for anybody to come pick me up or to go park and then ride the little tram trolley into the front. None of that. I can walk from my room to the front gates of Hollywood Studios in just a few minutes. So I'm staying at the Swan. Your move, Chris Murphy.
I love that. And I love that you're playing the game here. You're getting the Marriott points. You can deduct the amount of the stay, because a perfect day at any of these, either Hollywood Studios or Epcot, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, they're expensive days, because when I'm imagining it, I don't care about the money. I just want to have the perfect day. But I am actually leaning on something that you've said at a previous perfect day episode, which is I would like to stay also in walking distance at the boardwalk this time, instead of one of my favorite places in all of Walt Disney is the Yacht and Beach Club. But I picked that for my Epcot stay. So I thought, I'm going to lean on Bradley's expertise and go to the boardwalk. I love how close it is. You can you can walk it. You can ride the boat there, but I think it'd be just so much fun to experience that to start off my day and then to end it as well when everything is said and done. So I'm saying at the boardwalk.
Well, there's so much at the boardwalk. So if you want to get the party started the night before, you can have dinner at a variety of different places. Being a sports fan, I'm going to catch the game at the ESPN on one end. Maybe just do, wings and heavy hors d'oeuvres there. Make my way down, get a slice of pizza. There's a little walk up stand. You can get pizza there. Maybe get a little ice cream. Go check out the Dueling Piano Bar. Now we're at the other end at Jelly Rolls, and in the night with some dancing and maybe cocktails at the Atlantic Dance Club. What an evening. Then you're right there at the boardwalk. Crash. You're at Hollywood Studios first thing in the morning, and you don't have to worry about transportation for any of that. That's good
brilliant.
choice, sir.
I love it. Yeah.
And my son is also confirming that that's a good choice.
Yes, indeed.
So, okay. So you're staying at the boardwalk.
Yes.
What are you doing for breakfast that day of getting into going to Hollywood Studios? Okay.
So we have been very vocal on this show about the fact that we have yet to go to to Galaxy's Edge, this new Star Wars area of Hollywood Studios. But because I've never been, it's going to be my highest priority on my perfect day. I want to experience it. And from everything that we've read and heard, you have to be very strategic to make sure that you get a place in line to ride the rides in Galaxy's Edge. And so I want to make sure that that's the first thing that I do is I'm find my way, get that wherever it's a fast pass or I just get a ticket to it. But I really want to soak in Galaxy's Edge and do it as early as I can in the day. So for me, what I want to do is I want to have a light breakfast at the docking bay 7 in Galaxy's Edge so that I can just continue to absorb everything that Galaxy's Edge has to offer. So docking bay 7 for me is where I'm going to get a light breakfast because I'm going to be eating a lot towards the end of the day. So I'm going to start off with a lighter fare there in Galaxy's Edge. What about you?
You're wrong. Everybody's going to Galaxy's Edge. I'm headed to Toy Story Land. I'm going to Woody's Lunchbox and getting a breakfast bowl. It's something, it's not necessarily light, but filling. It's going to hold me for until lunch. So I can get there early and not have to worry about anything till maybe a late lunch.
Love that. So lunchbox breakfast bowl.
Exactly. But I'm going to avoid a lot of those crowds trying to book it to Galaxy's Edge. Now it may come back to haunt me later, but I think I'll be okay. So that's where I'm going is Toy Story Land, not too far from Galaxy's Edge. Mm-hmm. I'll just kind of break off there at the end and head towards Woody's Lunchbox instead of docking bay 7.
Oh, wait. Okay. On that note, you have a really good point because this is our perfect day at Hollywood Studios. So in a perfect day, it's going to go the way that we want it to go. So you will get on those rides in Galaxy's Edge, regardless, because it's the perfect day. Okay, so that makes sense.
My internet's going to be fast. My phone's going to be fast. I'm going to get whatever. It's going to say, hey, we've paused everybody else's. What boarding group do you want? And I'm going to say, you know what?
I love this.
I want to enjoy breakfast. So give me, like 12. So it's not too early, but even if the rides breaks down, they have to clean it, whatever. I'm still going to be able to see quite a bit of it. So
I dig it. Yes.
So that's what I'm doing. What's next? We got a must ride. What is your must ride at Hollywood Studios?
Okay, so my caveat on this one is that my must ride is if I've got to go to Hollywood Studios, I can't leave if I haven't ridden Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster.
Ooh,
that is just it's a classic. It is one of my family's favorite rides. As a family, we all love it. It's one of my favorite rides. It's so close to Tower of Terror, so it's right there. But that's my must ride. Now, having said that, the fact that I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge yet means that this is something that I have to do to make it a perfect day in Hollywood Studios. Because if I don't ride those Galaxy's Edge rides and experience that, it doesn't feel perfect to me because it's there. And if I don't get to experience it, then I'm out. So I will say Rock and Roller Coaster is like my all-time favorite must ride. But the Rise of the Resistance is something that I feel like that if I'm not able to experience that, there's no way it could be a perfect day at Hollywood Studios. So caveat with Rock and Roller Coaster and Rise of the Resistance.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
So my must-do ride, and look, pandemic has changed a lot of things. I'm not getting down there as much as I want, as often as I want. It's a ride that I have not ridden, but it's also not in Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, for shame.
It's not in Toy Story Land either.
Mm.
It's Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railway.
Yes.
This looks fantastic. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this new animation style, mainly because of Goofy. Goofy just kind of looks nasty and disgusting. And
he kind of looks like a scarecrow version of Goofy.
Yeah. It looks like he's been hitting the hard stuff. So, but I'm really intrigued by this trackless system.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see that because you can go into a room and just move about the cabin, as Southwest likes to say. You just glide around on the floor. I just want to experience it. Is it as smooth as it really looks? I think the ride can change every time you ride it. So
that's wild.
I'm just really excited for Runaway Railway as my must-do attraction.
That's great. I love that's so out of the box, but I think that's perfect because it encompasses Disney, it encompasses new rides and like just excitement. Good choice, sir. Good choice. Okay, so now that you've ridden that, and maybe another ride or two, it's now time for lunch. We really need to make our way to find the perfect lunch meal for our day at Hollywood Studios. So where do you need to sit down or to grab something quick service so you can go stand in line somewhere else? What do you need for lunch to make it the perfect day?
So this is going to end up being a pretty heavy day. Look, I had the breakfast bowl at Woody's Lunchbox. Then I'm now going to Galaxy's Edge to Ronto's Roasters. Ronto Roasters for the Ronto wrap. And it's basically pork barbecue. So
cool.
I mean, I'm experiencing Black Spire's Outpost, Batu. I'm getting into it, and going whole hog on.
I see what you did there
on some pork barbecue. So, where are you headed for lunch?
Okay, so I feel like there are several restaurants within Hollywood Studios that it like calls back to a earlier time, to a simpler time. And I like living in those worlds. It's one of the things that we talked about a few episodes of why WandaVision was so appealing to me, because I got to watch a Dick Van Dyke style sitcom from the 50s. Yep. And then I got to watch a Bewitched style sitcom from the 60s. I love being in a time and kind of being immersed in it. And so for lunch, for me, I'm going to go to the 50s Primetime Cafe. Yeah. I love it. I love the decor. I love that it feels like it's just kind of a home cooking paradise there at the 50s Primetime Cafe. But if I'm still wanting to make sure that I'm a little live and I can keep running around the parks, I may get an iceberg wedge, just a nice salad with some blue cheese and ranch. It would be nice. But they have a fried chicken dish there that I love. And so more likely than settling on a salad for lunch, I'm going to get Aunt Liz's golden fried chicken from the 50s Primetime Cafe. I just think, again, I know that I'm on vacation and I can go, I live in the South, so I can find places to eat fried chicken. But going to a 50s Primetime Cafe, just being immersed in that world and then eating food kind of from that era, whether it's meatloaf or fried chicken or old fashioned pot roast, whatever it may be. I'm going to go and have an experience there. So 50s Primetime Cafe for lunch for the win.
I absolutely love it. So after lunch, look, if you're getting heavy fried chicken, and I've just had some barbecue, it's not exactly light fare. We need some sort of low key attraction so that our food can settle and we can be ready for the back half of the day. So Chris, what's your low key attraction?
Okay, so it's not necessarily a low-key attraction more than it is just an experience. I can remember the first time that I ever went to Hollywood Studios. I was obsessed at the time, and still kind of am, with Disney and Disney animation. And I remember sitting and watching. I felt like that my future father-in-law and my future wife like left me for a little while to go get a snack. Well, I just watched an artist there drawing characters. And I loved it so much. And in the background, you can kind of hear that kind of 40s Hollywood kind of music in the background. And so it was just such a pleasant, the breeze was flowing, such a pleasant afternoon. I'm going back. I'm going to try to recreate that if I can. And, I don't even know if they're necessarily doing those types of live activities right now because of the current state of the world. But that would make it a perfect day for me to be able to relive a portion of my late teens and early 20s and watch a Disney animator or Disney artist just freely, easily create these works of art right in front of me. So that's what I'm going to do for my low key experience. What about you?
Even if you can't find that, because some of that has disappeared, Hollywood Studios was meant to be a working studio on the East Coast. And, just it got to be too much. And so Disney just moved everything back to California. But they do have the artistic janitors who take mops.
Oh, yeah.
And draw. And if you can find one of those, because I don't know that I've ever really noticed it happening when it starts. They're about halfway through.
Yeah.
But watching somebody draw, because what amazes me is I get up to a whiteboard with a dry erase pen, and any artistic ability that I thought I had disappears. I also can't spell it. That just disappears too. But they're taking a mop and just getting it wet, but it's not too wet so it drips all over the place. And it's like when your mascara runs. Well, I don't wear mascara, but you get the idea. But these things look great.
You don't need to tell us something? Yeah.
but yeah, just getting to watch the beauty of that art being created with a mop and water, seriously. And then, it just disappears because it's 400 degrees in the Florida summer. And so as soon as it appears, it's gone. But it's those little things that you need to be just kind of paying attention around you. But
there's something about being live and watching people create.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a moment that you can't get back. And so those types of moments I really enjoy and cherish when I go to Disney, especially Hollywood Studios with the artists of whatever, whether it's with water and a mop or a pen and some markers. I just love it, and I can do it all day.
And it's one of the reasons that I hope live performances at Disney World come back sooner rather than later. My low key attraction, I want a little AC. This goes back to my childhood. I loved watching the show. I loved the movies that came out as well.
I wonder if I know where you're going.
I'm going to Muppet Vision 3D.
Yes.
It's still there. It's still kicking. There's been some Muppet kind of revitalization here with Disney Plus. Could that later be a revamped Muppet Vision? Maybe. I'd like that. Muppet Vision, I don't think has changed that much. Muppets aren't as popular as they were back in the late 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, but they're still beloved by a lot of people. So if there's a way that can kind of get an update, I won't be opposed. But I'm going to catch some AC in Muppet Vision.
I love that. And you're right. Muppets themselves are pretty timeless because you can put Kermit with any backdrop and it still is Kermit with whatever it is. But there are a few times in Muppet Vision 3D, especially when you see the explosion happen out of the side of the building and you see the park goers in the background, that you can tell that those park goers are several decades older than they are when they were being filmed for Muppet Vision 3D. So it's kind of one of those things, maybe like a Spaceship Earth or It's a Small World, to where part of the appeal is the nostalgia. But I agree. If there was a Muppet Vision 3D revamp, I would be totally on board to see it. But I also have a soft place in my heart for the original. So, great call on finding some AC, because I don't know that in my perfect day I've found air conditioning yet. So I'm going to be a sweaty mess down in that hot Florida sun.
Well, I mean, if you're in Rise of the Resistance, you're inside. I mean, I think it's about 45 minutes.
Wow.
From beginning to end. And so you're in the AC there. But you're also moving through something, whereas Muppet Vision, you get to sit down and just relax for a few minutes. Yeah,
true. All right. So, after that, are we heading to grab a quick snack, or do we need to go find dinner? Where are we at in our day here?
I think dinner, because I'm staying at the park till closing. So I may need a snack to tide me over on my walk back to the what's it called where we stay, where we sleep, the resort. So So for dinner, I'm going where you went earlier in the day. Ooh. I'm going to Docking Bay 7. And I also want to say that I've got a son who's allergic to just about everything except cucumbers and apples. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but no wheat, no egg, no strawberries, no nuts, no seeds, all sorts of things. Just particularly as I was looking at the Galaxy's Edge menus, great allergy options there. But at Docking Bay 7, I got two options that really called out to me. When I pick out something to eat, I'm always the first one to be ready to order whenever we go out to eat, whether it's just me and my wife or a group of 50 people. Not that I've done that anytime recently, but I just look at the menu. The first thing that looks good, that's what I'm going to order, because if I keep looking, I'm just going to get indecisive. So right at the top, two entrees that I saw, I guess it's pronounced Badawan beef pot roast. Like I said, it's a heavy day for me eating. Or there's a roasted Endorian chicken salad. I was like, okay, a little bit lighter, still get a little chicken on there, because a salad, I'm still hungry as soon as I finish eating it. But Docking Bay 7, I'm just going to spend the afternoon eating in Galaxy's Edge.
It's brilliant. Yeah. Again, I feel like that because you and I haven't actually been down there since the Star Wars area of Galaxy's Edge has been open, that, I spent a lot of time just absorbing that, just really saying that, like, I know that experience now. That's a good call. I'm going to go a little different here. I'm going to stay on Earth and not actually go to the edge of the galaxy. And I'm going to go to one of my favorite places in the world, which is I'm going to Hollywood. I lived in LA for a long time. I would just drive around places in LA while I lived there, acting like a tourist, just to say, like, oh, there's where that Charlie Chaplin scene was, or, oh, cool, I can put my hands where Arnold Schwarzenegger put his hands in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater. And so I love that old Hollywood feel. Sometimes just in the background while I'm making dinner here at the house, I'll just put on some old 40s kind of music that kind of reminds me of that classic golden Hollywood era. And so in light of that, I'm going to go to the Hollywood Brown Derby and have a very nice sit-down upscale meal at the Brown Derby. I'm going to start off with a little lobster bisque just to get my palate ready to go. And then depending on how full I am or what I'm going to be doing afterwards, I may sit down and have a filet. Or I may just get the brown derby burger. I'm not exactly sure which one it is. I am a bit more indecisive than you are. And I love that you just like pick it and go. So that way you don't get overwhelmed with all the choices. Sometimes I have to kind of feel it out in the moment. So probably going to go filet, but I may go burger as well. So one of those two at the Hollywood Brown Derby, and act like I'm an actor from the 40s on the silver screen.
Okay. So at the Brown Derby, are you going full pull on the t-shirt that looks like the tux on over whatever you're wearing so that I can feel a little spiffy walking into the Brown Derby?
I like that. You know what? I didn't think about wearing the tuxedo t-shirt. I did think about actually wearing my own Brown Derby hat in the Brown Derby while I ate. So I thought that would be a good nod to that all. But if it gets in my way, I'll just put it to the side and keep my tux shirt on.
We need the Mouse and Men Brown Derby hats to wear to Hollywood Brown Derby for those fillets. We got to make that happen at some point.
Copy that. Absolutely, man.
Okay. So after dinner, we need to pick up a souvenir. We need proof that this day happened. Where are you going for a souvenir?
Well, I don't think that I've almost promised myself my entire life that I need this souvenir. And it's not just something that is necessarily Disney. It's just something from, I think, just childhood in general. I'm going to go to Galaxy's Edge, and I'm finally going to say that Chris Murphy has his own lightsaber, and I'm going to create it. And then I'm going to act like the child in me it's grown up into a Jedi and fight all the evil Sith or the Darth Vaders or the Darth Mauls of the world. I need a lightsaber to protect myself and my family, and to protect the fact that I went to Disney's Hollywood studio and got that souvenir. So I'm getting the lightsaber.
Yeah. So are you doing the whole build your own lightsaber experience?
Build it. Yes, sir. Ground up.
Yes.
It seems like one of those experiences that is not, they're not cheap. But well worth the memories of even just putting it all together. So I can even imagine me and my son both getting sabers while we're there. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to get the lightsaber.
That is awesome. And yeah, if you've got a son or daughter who really loves Star Wars, what a cool experience to go in side by side and get to build your own lightsabers and walk out with a really cool souvenir. I love it.
I can also see my son and I getting into our own lightsaber duels and really annoying my wife and my daughter. So, but that I think would be part of the fun. Let's see how far we can go until my wife is just like, cut it out, dudes.
Yeah. I can totally see y'all jumping on beds, over couches, ducking behind chairs, just going all out. I am going to, because I do love Mickey of yesteryear, I'm going to Mickey's of Hollywood, because all sorts of, it's got a lot of different souvenirs, but just Mickey stuff specifically. I'm going with those classic characters. I'm walking out with something. Hey, with my main man, Mickey, because we've talked about this before. I've seen parts of Star Wars, hadn't gotten into it. I'm going to go to Galaxy's Edge, experience that before I watch everything. I'm going to do it in release order. Then I'm going to do it chronologically. Yes, I'm going to watch episodes 1, 2, and 3, even though everybody says they're terrible. Look, I don't know anything, so we're just going to go with it. So I think I'd probably want a lightsaber. I still pretended as a kid that I had a lightsaber, and even though I wasn't into Star Wars. But man, seeing what they do, although what I might want to do more is build my own droid.
Oh, that was really high up there on that list. Yes.
Yeah, you can have your lightsaber. These are the droids I'm looking for.
Bravo.
So, let's go next. Mm-hmm. I know we just got done with dinner, but let's go with snack, because I don't know. I love food. So where's your snack option for the day, for the evening, whatever suits your fancy?
I'm going to get a brownie sundae from Hollywood Scoops. Again, Central Florida in the heat. I rarely have gone when it's not just sweltering down there, and I love it so much, but the heat really gets to you. So I need to cool down a little bit with a nice brownie sundae from Hollywood Scoops. I've seen pictures of kind of I think they call it like a bazooki kind of thing, sort of what we've had down at Disney Springs. Just two cookies with ice cream smushed in between it. That looks really good too, but I didn't see it on the menu. So maybe that's it doesn't come around all the time sort of thing. It's a limited edition snack. So if that's there, I'm getting that. But on a regular day, brownie sundae to really cool it down, get a little chocolate. I kind of have that dessert feel, especially after that big Hollywood Brown Derby meal that I had.
I love it. Look, I'm spending the entire afternoon, it seems like, in Galaxy's Edge.
Good for you.
I don't know why. Because
I'm ping-ponging all over the place, but you're being smart and staying put.
Well, I mean, I'm staying put, but I'm leaving for Muppet Vision and Mickey's of Hollywood.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
I'm coming back to Oga's Cantina because there's Batu bits, which looks like little bits of meat that you can dip in. I can't remember what kind of sauce it is, or the Hapabor sampler, which is a lot of different meats as well. So just like Arby's, they got the meats, and I don't know. I'm going to be a fat little piggy by the end of this day. I mean, I thought that I was eating a bunch in Epcot, and I am, but it's usually a little bit lighter than what I'm getting here. If it were a weight requirement, or having to be under a certain weight to ride a lot of these rides, I wouldn't be allowed, because they'd say, all right, Michelin Man, Jet Puff Marshmallow, you're going to have to just roll on out of here.
I think that what I'm learning through doing now 3 of these perfect days so far is it would be really difficult to squeeze perfect day back to back, like in sequential days. You almost have to do like one perfect day and then the rest of your vacation, and then come back and do another perfect day. Because again, I think you're right. They're going to be rolling me, just like put me in an inner tube and put me down the road, because that's the only way I'm getting out of there.
You're going to have a detox day, and not necessarily detox, but just, I'm going to have to eat some greens the next day. Whatever the hot dog eating contestants do the day before the contest, I'm going to have to do that the day before. Just get my stomach ready, because good luck. I hope that I've had my probiotics and my gut health is in good shape, because it's going to get a workout in the Hollywood studios.
Yeah. Oh, I think I would be remiss without trying the blue milk at Galaxy's Edge. Much like if you go to Universal Studios, to the Hogwarts area, it'd be hard not to go there and not experience like a butterbeer, either dessert or drink, because that's part of the lore and the love of the Harry Potter franchise. And much like that with Star Wars, this blue milk, I've got to try it to see what it's like. So I didn't think about that until you mentioned staying in Galaxy's Edge, but I've got to at least try that. So maybe I'll do.
How did we miss that? I don't know.
Yeah. So we won't, though, because we're planning it now so we can really execute this perfect day when we're actually in person.
Okay. So as we're finishing up, what is your favorite area of Hollywood Studios?
Man, I tell you, I feel like once I'm there and experience Galaxy's Edge, that will become my new favorite. But for transparency's sake, because I haven't actually experienced that, I love the old Hollywood feel of especially that area over near Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. I love, again, mentioning a few minutes ago about the music. It's just the trumpet and the jazz of the 40s. I love that feel. And so that's kind of my favorite area. When I close my eyes at night and I dream of being in Hollywood Studios, I can hear that music playing. I can feel that vibe of old Hollywood. And so that's where I'm going. I'm going to hang out on that side of the park, at least for a little while, until I experience Galaxy's Edge in the flesh. What about you?
So I'm going to an area of the park. I have not talked about this area of the park at all today because I was going to cheat and do all of these attractions in my favorite area, which is Sunset Boulevard, because I can do that rock and roller coaster that you mentioned earlier. I can do Tower of Terror. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say all three Cars movies are better than anything with Frozen in it, or involving Frozen. Yeah, fight me on that. I'm willing to take that
I'm with you.
But
Yeah.
doing Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, which is, I mean, it's an air conditioning fix, but it's over there in between the two. That's my favorite area because of that love of Rock and Roller Coaster, love of Tower of Terror, and I love the Cars movies. So if I'm confined to one area, I'm just fine over there. Y'all can have your Galaxy's Edge. Y'all can have Toy Story Land. I got what I need over here on Sunset Boulevard.
You know, I second that about the Cars movies. I love Cars. It was something that, like, I have a soft spot in my heart because it was my son's favorite movies almost 15 years ago now. Especially the first and the second one, when he was that age, just really hit that on the head as far as what he was into and the way I was as a little boy growing up. And I think that if you put all of the movie franchises or the Pixar movies all together, I don't know that Cars generally comes into the top, but it's tops in my book. I love the characters. I love the stories. I love everything about Cars.
The soundtrack, you've got Sheryl Crow, James Taylor, Brad Paisley, Chuck Berry,
Rascal Flatts,
John Mayer, Rascal Flatts. I mean, it's all on there. And Randy Newman did all the arrangements for all the orchestrations as well. Wrote a lot of stuff for that. So, I mean, that's a heavy, heavy soundtrack. Now, Chris, you and I didn't discuss this before we started recording, but I'm prepared for this week's plussing.
Bring it to us, brother.
Plussing. So, Disney Hollywood Studios, we've got Toy Story Land, we've got Galaxy's Edge, we've got Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, we got Tower of Terror. We'll get that, but there's a lot of movies, Muppets. It's Hollywood Studios. It's meant to be about the movies and Hollywood, the where movies are made. So my plussing this week is if you have an area of Disney's Hollywood Studios that your family really likes, make that a movie night. So if your kids are really looking forward to Toy Story Land, watch one of the Toy Story movies. If you are geeking out about Galaxy's Edge, make a movie night and watch your favorite film from the Star Wars saga. You can watch Tower of Terror. I haven't seen it. I heard it's terrible. I need to find it and watch it. If you want to go to Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, it's Cars. Find what it is. Go watch any of the Muppet movies. Rainbow Connection from the beginning of the first Muppet movie is one of the best songs. Love it. It's just Kermit on a banjo. What more do you need? But my plussing for this week is make it a family movie night in preparation for Hollywood Studios. It may mean you need to take a day off from a lot of other stuff, but it's worth it.
I think that is brilliant. That's wonderful. It's a great way to prepare for the excitement to build into a Disney vacation. I love that. My family and I have had a tradition going back almost a decade, if not a little bit more now, that we call it Friday night, pizza night, family movie night. And so on Friday nights, we just get a couple pizzas and we watch a movie. And now that the kids are getting a little older, it's a little harder to pull off every week. But that's one of those things that we really have a tie to. Like on Friday nights, we sit down and we watch a movie. So that is a perfect way to get ready for a perfect day at Hollywood Studios or any of the other places that you can go and visit in Walt Disney World. And that's an excellent plussing, sir. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Chris, for going to Disney's Hollywood Studios with me virtually today. It's been a blast. I mean, I, I'm a Disney nut. I love talking about Disney World, encouraging people to go visit because I just have such a great time down there.
Yeah.
And really geeking out about each of these parks the last several weeks has been great. We
Yeah.
still got one more to do, but it's a great way to, I don't know, I guess just whet my appetite for getting back down there because I know I'll want to try to do 4 perfect days in a row. And and if I'm going on a solo trip, I might be able to pull it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
but with a family, especially with a 1.5-year-old, just ain't happening. But I'm sure we'll have a great time anyways. I know we will.
Yeah, again,
so
and
Chris,
this
thank you for
land of the
joining me on this.
Yeah, sure. In this world of not being able to travel like we've wanted to, especially in 2020, it looks like 2021, there's like a light at the end of the tunnel. It feels like, but yeah, talking about the idea of creating these perfect days or just imagining what your favorite rides are in these parks. It's just a way for me to kind of virtually in my head visit these places since I can't be there in person. And so I hope that for our audience and listeners, we'd love to hear what your perfect day is because it's always better with friends. And so whether it's just with family or going on a solo trip or meeting some people that you've never met before down at Walt Disney World, just for the love of Disney, if you can't do all that in person, let's do it virtually until we can all be together again down at Walt Disney World.
Absolutely. So, as Chris said, let us know what your perfect day is. Also, let us know what you want to hear us talk about. If you've got somebody who's like, I'm not big into Disney, let us know what they enjoy, and we'll try to find a connection to Walt Disney World somewhere. You can do that. You can also find our top 10 things for grown-ups to do at Walt Disney World. Find links to all of our social media. Find links to YouTube where we broadcast the podcast all over at themouseandmen.com. And what I love is every week we explore just a little bit different area of Disney because you don't want to grow up too fast.
But you got to keep exploring.
You want to say hi?
Juju. Hey, buddy.
Okay.
And get out of here. Terry and I, yesterday, we decided, it's springtime. We're trying to clean up. We're trying to start getting outside and walking again. Let's kick it off with like a juice cleanse from I Love Juice Bar over not far from you in Franklin, downtown area. So we went and picked it up and man, it was great. Enjoyed it. Man, it just felt so good to get some like juices in us instead of like filling our, we'd been on kind of a vacation week. So it was just like fried everything and all that kind of stuff. And so it felt really good. But then I woke up this morning with zero energy. And so just kind of like walking around like a zombie, and Terry too. And so we finally had lunch a little while ago and got real food in our system again. And then like immediately we're like, we have energy again.
Well, yeah, I did something similar this morning. I had 4 donuts.
Yeah, potato.
Oh.